Hey folks, Tony is taking a break from this one. He wants me to narrate this doozy of a story. I've just learned that my girlfriend sent explicit photos to another man. We've been in a relationship for 7 years and have 2 children, a 5-year-old and a 2-year-old. I came across pictures and message screenshots on her phone. Throughout our time together, I had always trusted her and respected her privacy. While looking at our kids' photos on her phone, I stumbled upon deleted images of herself in revealing poses. Upon further investigation, I discovered screenshots of her sending these photos to another man through Facebook Messenger. She had been diligent in covering her tracks by deleting these messages for quite some time. It became evident that they had been having phone conversations and primarily communicating through this channel. When I confronted her about the infidelity and asked her to be honest, she initially denied it, until I presented the evidence. Subsequently, she attempted various excuses to justify her actions, but I remained firm in asserting that there was no acceptable explanation for her behavior. She had indeed cheated. I've supported her by covering all household expenses and even funding her education, yet this is the gratitude I receive. I've never harmed her physically and have remained faithful throughout. We've encountered the typical highs and lows of any relationship, and I've always aimed to find common ground. She admitted that this had been transpiring over the last 7 months, but she contends that there was no physical involvement because the man resides in a different state and is merely an old high school friend. Although she claims there was an opportunity during his visit, she asserts that she did not act upon it. Despite hours of questioning, I find it challenging to believe her. She's been deceiving me all this time, and I'm seriously wounded by her actions. Words cannot express how deeply betrayed and disheartened I feel, having lost a significant amount of trust. If it weren't for our 2 children, I would have asked her to leave immediately. At this point, I'm unsure of the best course of action. My mind is filled with countless thoughts, and any guidance would be greatly appreciated. Thanks, y'all. Here are some of the comments from this story. First comment. Although she claims there was an opportunity during his visit, she asserts that she did not act upon it. Survey says, that's a lie. Your girlfriend was sending nudes and explicit sensual pics to a guy and then met up with him in secret? Can you seriously believe that she didn't screw him? Of course she did. Cheaters never admit the truth of their infidelity unless confronted by irrefutable proof. They will lie and deny straight to your face until you show evidence that they are lying. Even then, they'll admit only half-truths and reveal the bare minimum of what they've done to explain away the evidence. It's just their nature. So at first it'll be they're just a friend. Then, we only chatted, then yes, maybe it was an emotional affair, but that's all. Then it'll be, okay, so we exchanged nudes and spicy videos, but it was just a sexting fantasy and never anything physical or real. And then they'll admit to kissing, making out, but that's as far as it got. And then finally, after all that lying, they'll admit, okay, we had sex, but it was only once or twice. Meanwhile, they've been having sex for 6 months or more. That's what cheaters do. It sucks. But now you know the levels of deception. If she was sending him nudes, chatting sexy talk online, and then arranged a secret meetup, I guarantee you she had sex with him and she's still lying. Sorry, but regardless of the kids, I'd walk away from her. She'll most assuredly continue the affair and just get better at hiding it. The truth is, she has no regrets about her affair. She enjoyed it. She enjoyed being with him. She betrayed you in the most intimate way possible, choosing to satisfy her own selfish desires over your emotional well-being. She willingly had sex with him and sexted with him, knowing it would likely end the relationship and would devastate you emotionally. She didn't care and did it anyway. That's not the person you want. Stay strong and stay away from her. Second comment. Yup, trickle truth. They only tell you the very minimum they think you'll believe or can prove. Of course she's been with him. He actually visited the area, of course she has. And a state away is not like Siberia. He can drive, LOL. And he might not be the only one, you never know. This woman sounds like a classic user of men. She wants attention. She thinks she's got a guy who'll do anything for her because he did, and she thinks she's got him wrapped around her finger. Prove her wrong. Hey, I know it hurts, but end this and get those kids DNA tested and an STD test for you. This woman is pretty bad, and she has no gratitude towards you at all. No respect. Don't tolerate this. Third comment. Just keep two things in mind. 1. She loves to betray you, to lie to you, and to smile at you while doing so. She is also really good at it. Lying to you is like breathing for her. Normal. That is the woman you have by your side. Second, she never wanted this to stop. She wanted to continue her affair, have phone sex and sex on video calls with her lover. The only reason why she paused it, trust me, she hasn't ended her affair, it is only paused until she finds a new way to hide it from you, is because you found out. Your wife was at a point more than 7 months ago where she had to make a decision about what is more important to her. You, the marriage and your family, or her affair. Then she made her decision and stick to that all the time. Not once had she made a decision for you and the family. The affair was always more important to her. If they had the chance to meet and have sex, they did. Keep in mind how much she loves it and enjoys it to lie to you and betray you. Don't let her fool you by believing more of her lies. Unless she can prove by the texts that they have exchanged that they never met, you better believe that they had sex. So get tested for STDs. Better to be safe than sorry. For now, kick her out of the bedroom and tell her not to approach you, unless it is about the kids. Tell her that you need some time to see her for the woman who she is, and no longer for the woman you thought she was. When you finally see her for who she is, then is the time you make a decision about your future. If I may ask, when was the last time that you received a nude picture from her? Second story. First of all, I don't care at all what people choose to do with their love lives. I am by no means a traditionalist, and I agree that there are lots of people out there who are better off just having open relationships rather than committing to one person because they suck at committing in that way. These folks tend to be cheaters. It would obviously be better if everyone is on board rather than cheating and lying. It's not their strong suit, and that's fine to adapt one's lifestyle around. What I don't understand is why a handful of my friends keep arranging a sit-down with me and my spouse telling us that they are coming out as poly. And then they want to have this long therapy session with us about it. So far, it has been the more narcissistic friends of mine who are doing this. A total of 4 friends have done this. 2 of them are married, 1 is single, another is going through a divorce. With the married couple, I got the distinct impression they wanted to have this sit down with my spouse and I in order to gauge our interest in joining them. They were dodgy about it and didn't outright ask because we didn't give off a single hint that we were interested whatsoever. But it could not have been more obvious that this was their intention, which just made our friendship weird going forward. But it could have been weirder had they been more forthcoming. Beyond that, I got the distinct impression that the husband in this relationship isn't 100% on board with this arrangement, but he's just going along with his wife. His wife is an extremely manipulative person who could sell a glass of water to a drowning man. She's also just kind of shady in general. She has been emailing my spouse a lot, I think, with the intention of grooming him for something. He has no interest and basically doesn't respond to her messages. I think these friends of ours are just bored, but they act like they're coming out as poly makes them into heroes or martyrs or something. When we had our sit down, they got really preachy about how this is the more superior way to conduct a marriage. We just grinned and nodded, occasionally checking the time, waiting for this to end. Then our single friend came out as poly to us. She admitted she was sleeping with the aforementioned married couple. I will be honest. Her sleeping with the wife, or with any married couple in general, doesn't really strike me as weird. It seems to suit her lifestyle. But her sleeping with the husband was the thing that weirded me out the most, whether he was married or not. She and the husband grew up together. We all went to high school together. They were always like siblings. Plus, they kinda hated on each other too, even well into their 20s. I think it's weird that were sleeping together as some kind of threesome. But hey, do whatever you want. What I don't get is that after it ended, the single friend decided to have a sit-down with my spouse and I, explaining this to us, saying that she's very into married people. This felt like a creepy repeat with the married couple. Again, we made it clear that we are all just friends, and nothing about that is ever going to change. Just friends. These are all people who have been our long-standing platonic friends for over 20 years. There has never been anything sexual between any of us, at all. They are forcing our friendship into gross, creepy territory that makes my spouse and I less eager to ever hang out with them. What's worse, they would just see this as an attack on their marginalized lifestyle, which it isn't. We don't want our platonic friends lusting after us out of boredom. Honestly, the whole beauty of settling down into a marriage for my spouse and I is that we expect to be treated platonically, relieving us of having to have these uncomfortable, unfun conversations with people we just want to hang out with, nothing more. Well, we used to want to hang out with them. As for the last friend, her situation is a little different. She didn't act like she was vetting us to see if we were interested. She is going through a divorce because she is dissatisfied with her husband. She met a woman in her graduate program who told her all about the poly lifestyle and how she can be poly too. This woman is married to a man and sleeps with other men. Her husband is aware of it. He does not sleep with anyone else. The woman says she spends thousands on hotel rooms and OkCupid accounts to maintain this lifestyle. She does not want to leave her husband, just wants to be poly outside of him, and that's that. So my friend absorbed all of this in the midst of her divorce, and she said she's considering going poly. She's still getting the divorce, so I'm not sure what she means by going poly if she is divorced. I told her, if you're single and just dating multiple single people, that's just dating. It's normal. You don't need some person from graduate school to manipulate you into thinking it's some kind of special lifestyle choice. She admitted that her grad school friend gave her some book on how to be poly, like she was indoctrinating her. I don't know. I just think the behavior is weird. I feel bad for our friend going through the divorce. She just seems more confused than anything else. She said she read through the book and questioned if she was poly or not. I don't see anything wrong with just dating around or even having an open relationship as long as it is mutual, but thrusting all of it onto your friends, expecting them to join you because you're dissatisfied and bored, is not normal whatsoever. Here are a few comments from this story. First comment. They are staking a claim that polyamory is a sexual orientation. Swinging is an activity and a lifestyle choice. You are much more allowed to judge and even shun someone for the activities they choose to engage in. But if being polyamorous is a sexual orientation, then the implication is that you aren't allowed to judge someone for it, just like you wouldn't judge someone for being gay or bi. The other part of the rebranding for people like the couple in this story is that some people present polyamory as more natural than monogamy. That's what I assume they were doing when OP said they argued it was the superior way of arranging a marriage. Put together, I think it captures the tone of how OP said that conversation went down. We are coming out as poly. Because this is a sexual orientation, you cannot judge us for it. It's also the more natural form of human sex and relationships. So your marriage is inferior and you are basically like a closeted gay person living a lie. Second comment. I think people in our generation just get confused by terms that define things that already existed before the term. Not to mention the fact that many of these things were taboo and/or frowned upon back in the day. It's hard to make a connection to the term because on one hand it's like, okay, great, who cares? But on the other hand, the stigma we grew up with around these topics stay with us, especially the concept of trying to figure out your sexuality. That's a difficult thing to do because we've come to realize that all of these different sexualities and sexual preferences and relationship preferences existed before, we just didn't have a name for it. We couldn't put a name to it because it would mean we're not normal. So we look at people like your friend and say, well, they're just swingers or serial daters or whatever, but it's not really true. Swingers are couples who like to have sex with other people, typically other couples. Serial daters are people who date a lot of different people, but never develop a strong relationship with one or the other. Poly means having a romantic relationship with more than one person. All of those seem the same on the surface, but really are different. Some people may even be using those terms for attention, but some people really are just trying to figure out something about themselves that they were never allowed to explore before for fear of being ostracized.